We're back. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the CBS Arena, the home of Mr. Paddy Davitt and, of course, Coventry City. Norwich City here this afternoon, hoping to build upon what was a very pleasing, very cleansing, I think, win at Blackburn at Ewood Park last time out. We are here to bring you the team news, which is going to drop in about a minute or so. Thank you very much for joining us, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, and X. A couple of minutes to go before team news. Paddy, what's it like to be back? Is it always good to come back to your a place that means a lot to you and Coventry fans generally? Obviously, they own it now as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And my two sisters are both season ticket holders. I've got a nephew, 9-year-old. He's mad into his football. He's a season ticket holder. So I know that the last game here, just to follow on from that point, was when they announced that they'd basically took ownership of this facility, lock stock, from Mike Ashley, formerly of Newcastle, whose group owned it. And off the back of that, I think that was announced on the Saturday morning. Then they had QPR in the afternoon and they put 7 past them. 30,000 in the ground. It'll be that again today. There's a real buzz around this team and this club now. Fell short in the playoffs last season, but they clearly believe that they're going to be in and around that again. So that is the size of the task for me, putting my personal allegiance to one side. I think you could argue Middlesbrough at home, maybe that was in the same bracket, but I think coming to these, free scoring as they are, this is probably the biggest challenge thus far of this Liam Manning Norwich.
It is. Some stats for you. Coventry unbeaten, obviously, in the first 4 games of the season. Record goals total after 4 championship rounds. The highest goal scorer in the 5 leagues. And here is how Norwich City line up this afternoon. It is Kovacevic in goal, Fisher, Medic, Starling and Krizene as the back 4. Diallo and McLean and Topic and Chris Gorin with Sienats and Sargent. So that is unchanged, isn't it, from the team that played against Blackburn. The subs bench, Grimshaw, Jack Stacey, first appearance on the bench for Theo Adelusi, a young defender from the academy. He's on the bench. Rory McConville on there as well. Liam Gibbs, Pella Matson, Mate Jurasek, Oscar Schwartau and Jovan Makama. So just to run that through that for you again, it's Kovacevic in goal, Fisher, Medic, Starling and Krizene as the back 4. Sienats, McLean, Topic and Diallo with Chris Gorin and Sargent up front. The subs bench, Grimshaw, Stacey, Adelusi, McConville, Gibbs and Matson, Jurasek, Schwartau and Makama. Paddy, I'm just trying to work out, so it's no Cordoba on the bench, no Schlupp on the bench. Are they the names that we're missing? And Mark Condes as well, also not there.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So none of those 3, well, Schlupp aside, were indicated there was a fitness concern. Cordoba might have been one of the, I think he said there was 2 yet to come. When we spoke to him Wednesday afternoon, there was 2 of the international crew yet to come back into camp. Sargent being one, it's reasonable to assume maybe Cordoba was the other one. That said, of course, he didn't kick a ball for Panama, did he? He was on the bench, so unless he picked up something in training while he was away, but obviously we won't speculate, we'll clarify that. But if I look down at the options there, I suppose with Stacey coming in, Adelusi, yeah, I mean that would suggest
that's over Shane Duffy is my first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sort of, well, I think this Turkish window's closed now, isn't it? Yeah. So Saudi maybe, Tunisia, or nothing at all. But with Cordoba, you would think for him to go from in the squad, in the team, then in the squad, and then out probably is more fitness related. But we'll clarify that. And obviously Mark Condes, if you look at it, Makama, Jurasek, Schwartau can all play in those areas. But again, that would strike me as maybe something fitness related. I think he said, didn't he, that he missed the first week of the season because he was just nursing an issue. I forget off the top of my head, but maybe that's reoccurred. So but we won't speculate. But I think it's reasonable to assume Cordoba and Mark Condes are probably fitness related issues. Second part of this week's build up. But other than that, the 11, no surprise, is it really? If they all reported fit and healthy, then you ask the same 11 who played so well in that first 45 at Blackburn to go again. Individually, collectively, the units, there was a lot to like in that performance. Liam talked after the game Wednesday about that was a validation for a lot of the work they've been doing. So if he's talking in those terms, he was very happy with what he saw at Ewood Park, and as a result, in the quest for consistency, then you want a consistency in terms of personnel and the 11, and to go with that again, that would suggest that at the moment those are the 11 who are doing enough in Liam Manning's mind to retain their places and to build on a very positive result, and also large parts of the performance of Blackburn.
Absolutely. Matej Jurasek on the bench. You can see the Norwich team scrolling across the bottom of your screen now. And just to answer this as well, it will be how it's lined up is a 4-4-2, as we've explained in various videos now, and not to sort of recover old ground, but it will be quite a hybrid formation. But yeah, certainly in terms of a team sheet formation, we're looking at a 4-4-2. Paddy, I guess the first point of call is it's unchanged. There's not many times in the last year, I'd have to sit down and work it out, but certainly doesn't feel like there's been that many times where we've spoken about an unchanged Norwich City 11. Listening to Liam Manning speak, he speaks a lot about consistency, continuity, and particularly given they're playing a team today who have been quite stable, didn't do a lot of business from a transfer perspective. Feels like that's probably quite important today for Norwich City to have some continuity and stability in their lineup.
Yeah, well, in contrast to Norwich do the 12 senior signings, just the 12, and then obviously the Saints out, Nunes out, all that drama. Coventry, in contrast, over the summer did 4 signings really. Most recently, Luke Wolfenden, who's come in from that team who play in blue over the border, and that suggests some of the quotes from Lampard that he wanted a thinner squad. He wanted players in and around it who all feel are in with a chance, but they don't want to be carrying players. So slightly maybe different to how Norwich are doing it. We're talking about some of the ones who aren't even in the matchday squad today. Norwich have got a rather large squad, it has to be said now, moving forward into certainly between now and January. But so what I thought was pertinent from Manning on Wednesday was that Coventry are maybe the fact they've only done four signings in the summer windows, because they were maybe where Norwich were 12 months ago and did a real huge turn and a huge churn. Obviously Robins going, Lampard coming in, part of that, and then there's that settledness now really about them and their group, and they're just looking to add, to tweak, just to drive it on, maybe, the difference between getting into playoffs and maybe emerging from them. So yeah, as Manning said, they're probably a little bit further along this evolutionary path, but that isn't a charter to coming here today and not proving that they can actually keep pace with a team like Coventry, who started the season very well. So, and it's going to aid their cause to try and do that if you can have that consistency in the 11, particularly now that the whole circus around Sargent, that's settled. So he's there, Quistgarden alongside him again, following on from Blackburn. There's a nice look to that, and hopefully they can develop again on from what we saw at Blackburn. And then you've got Jallow, and hopefully for me, Cernach. If Cernach starts to come to the party, that's a 4 there that can go anywhere in this league and cause teams problems. And then you're just looking for the structure behind them. And Darling clearly has added something there. Medics looked better at Blackburn in a more central part of the defence, and I liked Fisher's work and I liked Krzeni's work. So I just hope we're not talking after the end of today's game that one step forward, one step back. Let's have a little bit of consistency, irrespective of the result, but in terms of performance individually, collectively, because then you start to feel that there's an 11 emerging there that are probably going to be it for the foreseeable future. So it's big in that context. What you don't need is this, and we've seen it with the first 4 games, 2 defeats at home, 2 away. That's just a charter for kind of hovering around maybe mid-table, top 10. But where Norwich have pitched their tent, they need to be able to back up results home and away. And that's why today's an excellent challenge against a team who certainly at home are as good as it gets in this league.
Yeah, absolutely, and we will delve into that in a bit more detail. But just to bring you that Coventry team as we have it, it's one change for them as far as I can see. It's Rushworth in goal, Van Eegwick, Thomas, Kitchen and De Silva as their back 4. Matt Grimes, who's been confirmed as their new club captain after Ben Sheaf went to Wrexham towards the end of the window. He is partnered by Victor Torp in midfield. He's had a very good goal-scoring start to the season. Then they've got Sakamoto on the right. He's in for Thomas Asante in their only change. Mason Clark will be on the wing as well, with Jack Rodoni behind Hadji Wright, who has also made a very good goal-scoring start. Their subs bench, contrary to Norwich, they have a pretty light squad. Lampard was talking in the week about perhaps how tight he's gone and how he wanted that with his squad. They've got Wilson, Alan Sims, Bidwell, Thomas Asante, former Ipswich defender Luke Wolfenden, who obviously completed a permanent move here, I think on deadline day. Eccles, Brow and Kai Andrews as well on their bench. That's how Coventry City line up this afternoon in that sort of 4-2-3-1 shape. So unbeaten for them, lots of goals, no reason really for Frank Lampard. So I was going to flash that up. Yeah, this is the third game of his ban, so the final game. He will be back for next week's game at home against Wrexham. What do you make of this comment in terms of Pella Matson packers? I think me and Sam had a bit of a debate around it on the previous show yesterday, and you think of that midfield 3 that they've got now: Topic, McLean, Matson. Obviously you throw Jacob Wright in there, who we just mentioned, Liam Gibbs. that feels like quite, without having seen Pelle Madsen play yet, and hopefully he's the player we kind of hope he will be, but that feels like quite a competitive unit of players that Liam Manning's got at his disposal.
Which is what he wants that front to back, and probably certainly start the summer pre-Topic, pre-Mats, and a lot of the discourse media-wise, fan-wise, social media was around central midfield, and obviously there was a feeling there that Núñez would go, maybe not where he would end up, but that he would go, and what would that do for the central midfield? But now, you drop Madsen in. I'm not surprised that, to answer that question directly, he's kept him out today, because again we're building on from Blackburn, where I thought McLean and Topic as a pair and individually were very good. McLean, he has his detractors, but he knows what is required at this level, and I thought he was intelligent how he dropped in and sparked the play as well from that aspect. And you can see Topic probably benefited from having a player with his experience in there, particularly in that second half where it got a bit on top of him in terms of Blackburn having a go. So no real urgency there. There's no real need. It's not like Blackburn got beaten and there's a desire maybe to see something different. I think, no, it's great to have him in, and as you rightly say, Connor, if you're Mirko Topic or Kenny McLean, off the back of what Liam said, he's trained very well these past 2 weeks now, Pelle Madsen, and all the things they like about him, that he would suggest that he's not going to be too far from getting in the 11. So those two players in particular, no, they drop their standards. Even if it is Kenny McLean, there's a real good option to come in. And what I liked when Liam was breaking down his game, Pelle Madsen, on Wednesday, was talking about bite and that intensity and maybe gnarliness. I think too many times, maybe in recent seasons, Norwich haven't had that, particularly away from home, where it comes on top a bit. And if he's got that in his locker, and that's natural
Depth-wise as well, they've often had one player, two players like that. They're not sort of deeper into their midfield.
No, exactly, and it's key, because just go back to last season. Too often Norwich went away from home and got beaten up metaphorically. They were too soft or too weak in those areas of the pitch. If this guy has this in his toolkit, McLean can put his foot in when required. So Topic physically is a very imposing character. I'm glad to see that they've got those options now in there. That yes, technically they're good players, but if required, they can also in certain phases of the game roll their sleeves up and dig in. So yeah, it's great. It's great that we have those options now, that we can look at that Norwich bench and feel, okay, well, if it's not happening in any of those three units of the team, there's players who can come in maybe and affect it now. And it's another opportunity for Jurasek, hopefully. He's clearly now reached the level in Liam Manning's eyes where he's a serial involved in the squad. It's just that last little bit now, and he's probably going to have to wait for an opportunity, maybe a Jallo or a Cernac's level to drop. But when he does get an opportunity, he just needs to take it now. And if he can catch, then it's quite exciting, the sparks that can fly in that top end of the pitch for Norwich.
Yeah, and it's what it does to the players in the team as well. If you're an anti-Cernac's in particular, he spoke to Sam at the start of the break about maybe how he felt he hadn't quite made the start that he wanted. Well, if you've got Matej Jurasek on your heels and you've got Schwartau and Makama and others, then that's going to push you to get better. Similarly in that midfield debate, Kenny McLean will know, Mirko Topic will know. They have to keep the levels up to ensure that we're not talking about Pelle Madsen starting games very soon. Obviously, Jack Stacey just back from a concussion, I would imagine, is probably the reason he's not starting this game. I mean, there was a comment about Chris Goran, I think one just going up. Chris Goran, not Chris Goran, who sat down there, and I can see Nick is. I wish there was a budget, to be honest, but that's another point. Just about whether we had a budget to have a microphone each. I don't have enough slots in my laptop, to be honest, is the honest answer. On this point from Carl and Chris Goran about, do you think Chris Goran will hit the ground running soon? I mean, clearly he had a bit of a protracted summer, didn't he, because of the under-21 Euros with Denmark, throw in a transfer to Carrow Road, then obviously he had that little niggle in pre-season that kept him out. It's been probably quite gradual for him. I think we saw it at Blackburn that he's just probably getting up to speed a little bit. I think the flashes that we have seen have been quite high quality, but you referenced it earlier, this is another opportunity to build that connection and that relationship. And I think we saw at Blackburn him drop a little bit deeper to Josh Sargent, but it's the impact he can have on him as much as anything, isn't it? The giving defenders something else to think about, the option if they get into a crossing position, not just to go aerially and try and look for Sargent, but equally, you've got a cutback option or somebody who on second balls, on rebounds, can be quite lively. It's a different type of threat that those two have, and if they can get that sort of relationship dovetailing and in a good place, that's quite an exciting place to be for Norwich City.
It is, yeah. So I'm just going to break off because I've seen Doug King walk down the steps there, who's there once a Norwich fan in his youth from I think he's Lowestoft area, wasn't he? but he's his business has brought him to the Midlands, and he's doing a great job here. He's really got this place.
Not on car parking, but we won't get into that.
No, we can't have everything. All microphones maybe, but yeah, what could have been? Norwich. He's gone the inverse of Liam Manning there, hasn't he? He's gone away from his
the opposite of you, hasn't he? That's
a little bit, yeah. But back to Quistgaard. I tell you what was interesting. I had a Danish journalist come in to me over the fortnight and just wanted to ask me a few questions about Quistgaard, and the tone of it was that are the Norwich fans getting a bit frustrated? He hasn't scored. He's not hit the ground running. Is there an issue there? Almost the inference, and I've not got any sense of that at all. I mean, whether there's one or two in the Norwich fan base, but not for me. I think we knew that Liam Manning was quite clear that they were going to, because he came into camp relatively late, because of the nature of he was away with the 21s in the Euros and that deal as well. So inevitably it was going to take him a while to get up to speed. I think there was a fitness issue or two back end of pre-season, so they didn't want to risk anything. But I've certainly capped by that Blackburn first half. I thought there was a lot of positives. I thought he was good against Southampton in the League Cup. We'll gloss over that he gave the ball away for their goal, but he had that great chance when he ran through and just scuffed it on his left foot. But what I like is it keeps defenders honest, and Liam Manning in a nice way called him a pest, and I just think that in and around Sargent could be a real good mix. And for me, it's not. I mean, why hasn't he scored? Is there a frustration? Look at his goal record for Bromby. That guy will score goals, absolutely no doubt about that at all. So it's only a matter of when for me. And for me, no, I don't think there's any question marks against him at all. Certainly at this point in time, it's like it is with Medic, like it is with Topic, Kovakovic. These are players who are new to the league, new to the country, as Liam said, also new to the sort of type of refereeing and what you can get away with and what you can't. It's all part of the learning curve. But he did a fans forum event, didn't he? He was with Darren Eady earlier in the month, I think. It was him, Schwartag, Harry Darling, and just to sit and listen to him for 45 minutes an hour. Very engaging character, very aware of what he wants. You can tell he's a very driven individual in terms of his career. He's come here because he thinks this is the next stage of his career, and we don't even need to open up the Pandora's box of them getting him for a song relatively in terms of what his valuation was in the market and how they exercised that option, to whip him away from the likes of was it Rennes, I think, in France. So that is a very high grade player now ploughing his trade for Norwich. So for me, it's just a matter of time with him. So and good again to see now today the fact he's starting back-to-back games. That would suggest those fitness elements of the equation are now settled. He's ready. He's up to speed. Now it's just about getting comfortable with A, the championship, but B, playing with Sargent. And if those two can forge a real good understanding, then there's going to be goals aplenty.
Yep, there is indeed. It's a really interesting one today, Paddy, isn't it? Because it's another one, I guess, similarly to probably Middlesbrough and Millwall, where we were talking about Norwich playing a team that have very similar aspirations to them in terms of getting out this division. Cov have gradually, when I say gradually, it was a seismic rise, wasn't it, under Mark Robbins from League Two. It's been a bit more gradual from a championship perspective. Frank Lampard's obviously taken that on, and it has been some start to the season, obviously coupled with the way they ended last season as well. There's been some real momentum behind him since he's taken over, and probably responded to a lot of his critics as well, maybe not necessarily in Coventry, but wider than that, about his managerial record that of course very nearly took him to Norwich, and we all know that story. So I guess this is a marker for where Norwich City are ahead of what is a really interesting block of 5 games before the next international break that starts here and ends at Portman Road with that East Anglian derby. I think we're going to learn a lot about Norwich over this coming period. How do you see it going today in terms of this game? Because it feels like potentially from those lineups, and it's going to be 0-0 now, so stick your money on this, but it feels like there's goals in both of those teams, really.
Fraser's gone Norwich 3-0 win. I've already pushed that up. Right, actually, we've just had a little message. This is a bit Jim White breaking. Cordova's out with illness, we're led to believe. So that's that mystery solved. But with no word yet on Marcondes. But I'm contractually obliged to sit on the fence for this one. So that's where I'm going. But I can see all 3 results in play, because Norwich have gone to Portsmouth, tough place, got a result. Gone to Blackburn, tough in the way they got the result, but they got the result. So coming here, that won't faze them. They've got a tremendous record here as well.
2008?
17 years, somebody said. Yeah, 17 years.
I think Cov won at Carrow Road because Jordan Henderson scored. I think that was his first season.
Yeah, but here in various guises, yeah.
Glenn Roeder was Norwich manager, because it was Elliot Ward who I spoke to yesterday about this, and Leon McKenzie on the score sheet. So that tells you how long it's been.
So, yeah, I can see that. But equally, Coventry at home, I can't underestimate how jumping this place is now that the fan base feel they've got their club back, and like you say on the pitch, that translated it into a very good top 6 finish, and arguably they're probably better than Sunderland over 2 legs, but that mattered little because Sunderland got the job done. Good luck to them in the Premier League, but they were close. They were pushing, and they will feel that they're going to go close again this season. Like I say, they're getting 29,000, 30,000 near every home game. So could I see Cov winning? Yeah, I could, but I'm going to meet in the middle and go. I'm not going 0-0. Surely not, Connor. With these two sides, with all the attacking players on the pitch, has got to be goals.
Bit of travesty.
And if there is a chink in the armour, apparently from Coventry defensively, they're not the best, and can be got at. And you would think with the quality of player Norwich having the final third, that is opportunities aplenty for them there. So I'm going to go 2-2. You?
Yeah, we've got plenty of 3-2s. One from George here, and then another from Carl, 3-2 as well. What I will say before I delve into my prediction is, just as we turn to our right here is the away. Norwich always travel well here. It's probably isn't for the Cov folk, but for Norwich fans, this is a really good journey, a really good away day. You get a big allocation, and yeah, can already see that filling up with a real sea of yellow. So it's going to be a good atmosphere here today with a home end that, as you say, Pat, is absolutely bouncing. And I think all of us can concur after the struggles that this club has had in terms of finding a home and keeping a home for a long period of time. It's good to see them now in a place that they own and can make their home as well. That said, I think this is going to be a really good challenge for Norwich, a really good test of where they are. I think it would be a really good statement of intent, actually, if they could come here and win this game this afternoon. I think in reality, I could see 2 teams cancelling each other out. So I'm going to join you on the fence with a 1-1. But yeah,
Emma's going for it in a big way. Yeah, but she didn't say to us. So she didn't specify.
Depends who us is, I guess.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you'd think that's probably Norwich, though. Yeah. But this is probably in other news, water is wet. Sargent score again, yeah. Just to clarify again, we've already touched on this suspension. Final game of his 3-game ban. And if, we just had a debate there, didn't we, about Topic and McLean. Matson can't get in. Well, Jacob Wright, if those boys perform well today, then Jacob Wright might find that the longer-term penalty of his red card was he's going to struggle to get back in this centre midfield. And if that is the case, given where he was at the back end of last season, shining light and not a lot else to get excited about, that tells you, how positive things have changed.
Absolutely. Right, we will have all angles covered here at the CBS Arena this afternoon. All your coverage, all your analysis and reaction to this afternoon's game, however it ends here in the Midlands, we will have that for you. This has been a happy hunting ground for Norwich City in the past. Let's hope we're still talking about it in the same terms come the final whistle. Thank you very much for joining us. And of course, if you've joined us late, you can watch this back on Facebook, YouTube and X as well. See you soon.